I am Molly Cash. I am the COO of the ISA. I am thrilled to have the opportunity to welcome you here tonight to celebrate the award-winning script Detention by Steve Coy and John Ferraro. Thank you so much for being a part of tonight, for being here to watch and to celebrate with us. Steve and John won the Table Read My Screenplay competition. And with that, they got the opportunity to hear their script out loud with this fantastic group of actors that you see before us, and some who are not here tonight, and directed by Pavia, our director. And we got the opportunity to workshop the script and shrink it down from a full feature into a 45-ish page truncated version to rehearse and put on its feet, so to speak, to be able to present it here for you tonight. It was a joy to work on this script, and to be able to work with this team and this group. The first time I read this script, I was very deeply moved and touched by it. It is a beautiful script. I think you'll all agree when you see it. I then had the opportunity to read it several more times and rehearse it and watch it several times during the editing process. And I have to say, each time I was even more deeply connected to the characters and the material. It really is a poignant piece. It is so timely. There are so many wonderful themes throughout it. And I'm so thankful for you both, Steve and John, for submitting it. I know
Yes.
I told you not to, but say hi, so people know who you are.
Yes.
Thank you for submitting it. Thank you, Steve, for being an ISA Connect member. So you got a free entry and you could submit it and then win it. It's been such a pleasure to work with you both. And really, I can't wait to see what happens next for this script and for you both. I'm so thrilled to have been a part of this process. Ria, I mean, what can I say? You know, I love working with you. You have a vision, a very clear vision. You have a way to drive it forward and to make it happen. And at the same time, you have the ability and the openness to collaborate with everybody around you and to really make everybody feel heard. And I know this one was not easy because you had a lot of us in your ear. Two writers this time, and myself and Scott and all the actors. And you were so open to it and welcoming and making sure that everybody really felt taken care of. Thank you so much.
You.
And it was really fun, you guys, Steve and John, to work with you. I've not ever worked with co-writers before. And it was really cool to see you guys work off each other and feed off each other, elevate each other, compliment each other. It's really, really cool experience. ISA team, there is not one single person on the team of ISA who isn't somehow involved in this event because it started many, many months ago with the launch of a competition, and then looking through the submissions, promoting the competition, getting it to the point where we select it. So it's the marketing team, the submissions team, support. Everybody has a hand in bringing it here today for everybody to see. Thank you all so much. You are so dedicated, passionate, talented people. I love you all. Special shout out to this fabulous Scott Marcus, who without you, none of us would be here tonight because the editing is, half of making any show is it's all made in the editing. And each time we do this, you step up your game, and I think you probably have this goal in yourself to make it better than the last time, and you once again have done that. Thank you so much. Our sponsors, Script Studio, Screenwrite Now, Film Inquiry, Scriptation, and Creators Vault. Thank you all so much. Side note, if you have a chance, Steve and John just did an interview with Film Inquiry. It's a lovely interview. They dive deep into the script and the origin of it. And you should check it out. It's both on our site and on Film Inquiry's site. Also, good special shout out to Adriana Sisconi for her casting help, putting together this amazing cast, and Bree Brincat for the poster design. Cast. I've worked with a few of you. And that's why you're here again today, because I love you. And now the rest of you who I've never worked with before are going to be brought back because you are, I mean, you're all, every single one of you poured your heart into these characters and into the narration that was a character. You all gave life to these characters. You made me feel for them, want to root for them. They are all heroes, mostly. There's a bad guy in there, but you know, uh, but really, you really did great service. Thank you all so much for being a part of this. If you like what you see tonight, which I think you probably will, and you have a script and you think to yourself, this would be kind of cool for me to have this experience. I could learn a lot. You are in luck. There are 2 more weeks left for the current Table Read My Screenplay competition until the final deadline. You can submit on the ISA site or on the Table Read site. Please do. We want to read your material. Steve and John, if you guys want to say a few words about the script and the experience before we see the show.
Yeah, thank you so much, Molly. I'm gonna keep it brief. I will try to keep it brief. And I also try to prepare remarks, and that doesn't go well. So I'm just gonna speak from the heart. I want to thank the ISA team for such a beautiful experience from Sundance to this entire table read. It's truly been seamless thanks to Molly and her team. The Sundance experience was almost, not almost life-changing, it was life-changing. Just to be around all those creatives, to see all those beautiful films. To Ria, our wonderful director, we had 4 days between the full read and the recording to get everybody together. What you were able to get out of these actors on Zoom was tremendous. And thank you for taking all of our notes. Adriana, Ria's daughter, for casting such a beautiful, talented group of people. And to our cast, tremendous work. Really played well. I was kind of a little anxious to see how it would play over Zoom, and it was beautiful. And you played super well. And Steve, we've talked enough, but it's been an amazing ride from Twitter to Sundance, and we'll go into that after the recording. But it is such a powerful piece, and I'm so happy that the ISA, Felicity, Molly, really connected to it. So I can't wait for all of you to see it, and I'll see you at the end.
Yeah, amen to all of that. I'm glad John said it, so I didn't have to. I'm excited. I'm kind of amazed also. I do want to echo that I'm amazed at what you can do over Zoom with some post-production. It's just really, really cool. And thanks to everyone at ISA and the talent here and all these faces in windows for helping us bring this to life. Just about the story, this is about what people will do to survive a really difficult situation, forces bigger than themselves, and that's what kind of grounds me in this script. And I hope that everybody thinks it's as impactful as we all do.
Maria, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, and I will be really brief as well. I springboarding off of what Molly and Steve and John said. When I first committed to direct this event, the script hadn't been chosen, and then soon I read Detention, which, as you know, won the 2024 Park City Table Read My Screenplay competition. In full transparency, I thought, am I the person to tell this story? I was admittedly blissfully unaware of the details of the horrific goings on that you're about to see. And without sounding too crunchy granola, I realized that I was called to be at the helm for a reason. And I knew that for me, it was vital to creatively collaborate with all of these humans, including but not limited to the cast, who are very brave in that. Spoiler alert, I'm not going to say much except for there's just a lot that they need to do, that they were asked to do, that is super awkward or cringy on Zoom, or should be, or maybe would be on paper, but they don't care. They just went for it. And you'll see with Scott's brilliant editing that it doesn't feel like it's on Zoom for some reason. I hope you feel like that. That's what I feel. And anyway, I knew it was vital for me to creatively collaborate and shine a light on this topic, and specifically these characters who represent hundreds of others. And as I told my cast and crew and writers, this is gonna sound so, I don't even care. I'm forever changed, period. So I trust you will be too. Let's do it.
Amazing. Thank you. Okay, everybody, sit back and enjoy this wonderful performance. Please stick around afterwards because we are going to bring everybody back on and do a Q&A. Okay, enjoy.
Hi, I'm Ben Ubiñas, and I'm playing Josh.
I'm Eric Flores, and I'm playing Gabriel.
Hey, I'm David Starzyk, and I'm playing Dan.
Hi, I'm Gloria Ness, and I will be playing Amber.
Hi, I'm Junior Gutierrez, and I'm playing Felix.
Hi, my name is Holger Moncada Jr., and I'm playing the role of Eddie.
Hey, I'm Andrew Gonzalez, and I'm playing Luis.
Hi, I'm Peter Schiavelli. I play Jeff Gasparich and the PA announcer.
Hi, I'm Lita Lopez. I'm playing Rosa and ICE Administrator.
I'm Matthew Davis Morris, and I will be playing Eric and announcer.
I'm Daniel Vasquez, and I'll be playing Miguel and male anchor.
Hi, I'm Molly Cash, and I will be playing female anchor.
Hi, I'm Elias Hinojosa, and I'm the narrator. Detention, written by Steve Coy and John Ferraro. Since 2014, residents of the Northern Triangle, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, have comprised the majority of migrant encounters along America's southern border. In 2023, U.S. Customs and Border Patrol encountered 447,000 undocumented Northern Triangle migrants entering the country through Mexico. That year, the Biden administration banned asylum for anyone passing through multiple countries en route to the U.S. Interior, high school auditorium, stage, afternoon. A poorly funded small-town Texas high school's auditorium. Stretching out his hand to receive a diploma from the high school principal, Josh Castillo Schroeder, 18, Mexican-American, not psyched to be here. A cap and gown cover his runner's physique. A forced smile covers his embarrassment as a PA announcer calls his name.
Joshua Castillo Schroeder.
Josh scans the audience for his father, Dan Schroeder, 50s, barrel-chested, discerning, who admires the photo he's just taken on his phone. Dan wears a black zip jacket over his U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement uniform and paternal pride on his face. In the back of the auditorium, a door cracks open. Slipping through is Josh's sister, Amber Castillo, 25, too cool for this shit town, sporting Dan's looks and a Columbia University hoodie. She gives Josh a guilty smile and wave. Lobby, moments later. Josh stops a few feet shy of Amber.
One day you'll be on time for something.
I didn't make valedictorian for punctuality. What was your GPA again?
Good enough for UT.
Come here. I missed you, baby bro.
Amber steps up, hugging Josh like he's been on a desert island. They pull away to glance at Dan, chatting in the aisle.
I shouldn't be so hard on you. That's what he's for.
You hear back from the paper?
You thought I came home just for you?
You're
the newest underpaid addition to the rapidly dwindling local journalism industry, reporting for duty.
Good us, living the dream.
Dan approaches, cautiously distant.
Made it.
Amber meets him halfway with a half-hearted hug.
Well, I'm proud of you, son. Your mom would be too.
Josh turns his gaze downward, fiddling with the delicate gold chain at his neck.
I'm gonna go celebrate with the team.
Oh yeah, but be home for dinner. I'm making your favorite.
See ya.
Josh leaves Dan and Amber in the dust, jogging off with a group of athletic boys.
You cook now?
Interior dining room, early evening. Josh, Amber, and Dan sit at a 4-seater table off a small kitchen that's never been remodeled. Unintelligible sound and a faint glow emanate from the TV in the next room. The kids push their forks through the worst enchiladas you've ever seen. Dan shovels them into his mouth.
Josh, how's the job hunt?
I have a job.
Sitting in that booth 10 hours a week won't make a dent in Austin rent. I mean, thank God it's only undergrad. All those loans, no guarantee of a good paying career. You can get an education, a real world one, but
Don't think I'm Army material, sir.
Dan glances at the local news broadcast. Headline, Migrant Surge Overwhelms ICE Center.
Christ, another caravan. You know, your mother and her family
Weren't fleeing for their lives.
you know, they get caught, their kids get taken away. Speaking of which, I just got the okay to hire part-time.
Here we go.
Processing new arrivals, handing out meals, watching those kids. You pull some strings, get you to the top of the stack. It's good pay. You put in the door.
3, 2, 1.
Your mother would have loved to have seen us working together.
Yeah, I'm late for work.
Well, I'm not, think about it.
He slides a job application to Josh. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Josh snatches it and dashes out. Exterior, old-timey movie theater, sunset. Josh approaches a vintage marquee. He stares up at it. Thanks for 47 great years. He walks up to the ticket booth and snatches the sheet of paper taped to the window. Interior, old-timey diner, night. Josh sits across from Amber in an aqua and white vinyl booth unchanged since 1954. Slap! He slams down the paper. Dear moviegoers, economic realities force tough choices.
How theatrical. What are you going to do?
Josh meekly slides the ICE application across the table.
What? Dad's right about the money.
Oh, so you're serious about working at a concentration camp?
Have you ever actually been there?
Rosa Salazar, 40s, Mexican, everyone's favorite diner waitress slash honorary auntie, arrives with 2 cheeseburgers and milkshakes, one of which is heaped with 4 cherries.
Hola, cariños. Long time. Back for good?
Back for now.
Rosa sets down the cherry-laden shake in front of Josh.
Remember when he used to steal all your guys' cherries? Eventually, your mom pulled me aside and said, Rosa, we're tired of this. Just give him 4 stinking cherries. Oh, era una buena amiga. Congratulations on your big day.
She shows him a picture on her phone, the one Dan snapped of Josh at graduation. Josh is surprised and embarrassed. Rosa spots 2 new customers and makes her exit.
Be right there.
I think you're overreacting, sis.
You're overreacting. You sound just like him. Maybe you should work there.
Josh looks around the room to see if anyone's listening.
I don't want to leave for college without.
Without what?
I just have some things I need to tell him.
In the journalism biz, we call that going on the record. It's a way of coming out and confirming things that like everyone already suspects.
Hey, have you seen my cool, empathetic big sister who always has my back? She was last seen skipping town like 8 years ago.
Well, instead of holding up the carceral state together, you could work out your issues over dinner.
You first.
Interior living room night. Josh encounters Dan sitting on the couch watching a court show, his uniform draped over the sofa. A couple of beer cans decorate the coffee table.
Hey, there's an envelope on your desk from UT.
Little or big?
I don't know. Medium?
Interior Josh's bedroom moments later. Josh enters his Spartan bedroom. Still unpacked cardboard boxes are stacked in a corner. As he reaches for an envelope on his desk, emblazoned with the University of Texas logo, a distraction. A framed photo of a 10-year-old Josh and Emilia Castillo, 30s, Mexican, maxed out, joie de vivre, in a playful embrace. She wears a gold chain, the one Josh rubs for luck before he eagerly tears open the envelope. Josh smiles and reads from the topmost sheet.
Dear Mr. Castillo Schroeder, congratulations again on your acceptance to the University of Texas at Austin. Blah, blah, blah.
Interior Dan's Bronco, day. A 1990s Ford Bronco zooms down Interstate 69 amidst palm trees, car dealerships, and not much else.
Look, son, we'll fix this.
How did you not know? The in-state tuition was the only silver lining of mom dying.
Look, you can defer, make some money, go next fall.
So I just pretend to enjoy 2 whole seasons of baseball with you? I'm sorry, I didn't mean it.
Yeah, you did. It's okay. I never thought we'd make up for the last 8 years over a summer, but maybe over a year.
Dan hesitantly reaches for Josh's shoulder, then retreats, puts his hand back on the steering wheel.
Look, the center pays $18 an hour. It's flexible, too. They don't come in 9 to 5.
I mean, I'm already in prison.
Exterior U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Processing Center, ICE Center, McAllen, Texas, day. Dan and Josh approach a massive campus of perfectly rectangular prefab buildings, surrounded by concrete, asphalt, and dead grass. Interior, ICE Center, hallway, moments later. Josh trails Dan, who moves at a quick clip. Glaring fluorescent lights bounce off the gold chain around his neck.
Come on, keep up and tuck that chain in.
Josh does as he's told. They enter the expansive main floor, concrete, exposed rafters, chain link fence holding cells. Chatter over the walkie at Dan's waist.
Eddie will give you a tour in a bit. Okay?
Josh takes in the sights. Boys of all ages, some toddlers, stuffed in holding cells. They sit on the concrete floor, resigned, sick, hungry, foil blankets strewn everywhere.
All right, first you'll need to fill out your paperwork. It's a mile tall, so you can use my office. Hey, Earth to Josh.
Interior, Dan's office, day. Walls lined with filing cabinets, binders, papers, folders stacked everywhere. Through a small window behind Dan's desk, sliver of natural light pierces the grim ambiance. Josh sits in front of Dan's desk, head turned over his shoulder in horrified fascination at the main floor. Dan struggles in vain to open the window.
God damn it! Hey, AC guys, better show.
Dan motions to a large stack of paperwork, tosses Josh a pen.
So, are you waiting for something?
Josh leafs through the overwhelming stack of bureaucracy.
Look, even the warden's kid ain't immune to the federal government. And don't worry, your psyche eval came back just fine.
Josh forces a smile and fills out the first sheet, then snaps his head back up, like he's seen a ghost. Or a bobblehead doll. It's former Texas Rangers third baseman Adrian Beltre, commemorating his 3,000th hit. Adrian towers over a phone book-sized replica of the Rangers stadium. Dan taps Adrian's grinning head. Boing.
Glad you're here.
I can't believe you still have that thing.
It's one of the best nights of my life. You want it back, you let me know.
It belongs here.
A knock at the door. In comes Eddie Trujillo, 30s, muscular tattooed arms, too upbeat for this place.
Eddie!
Hey, what's up, boss? Josh, my man. Been a while, huh? It's good to see you. Excited to get started? Yeah, it's a lot.
Eddie's the best in the business. Hey, don't ruin him on his first day, right?
Interior, surveillance room, continuous. A wall full of monitors in front of a console. Eric, 24, would be wearing Sperry topsiders if they were ICE approved, sits at the console monitoring camera feeds.
We got 40 cameras inside, 20 outside. They'll let you see just about every nook and cranny. Eric, Josh, Eric. Don't get too attached. Eric's leaving us for UT Law soon.
Someone's got to help make Austin normal again.
Cool. That's a T14, right?
Where'd you learn the lingo?
My mom is she was a immigration paralegal.
Lots more to see, Josh.
Exterior, Ice Center parking lot, afternoon, blinding sunshine. Heat radiates from the blacktop as two buses pull into the parking lot. A flood of dusty, sweaty, and tired young men and boys stream out of the buses. All Latino, all in street clothes. A couple of the older ones carry toddlers. Dan, wearing sunglasses, oversees the influx of new arrivals. At a small table, Eddie looks over a clipboard. Josh pats down the new arrivals, wiping the sweat beating from his forehead. Next in line is Gabriel Marroquin, 17, holding it together like a champ.
Name?
Gabriel Romeo Marroquin Garcia,
Country of origin?
Guatemala.
Are you here alone?
Gabriel turns his head over his shoulder. Out from behind him steps his little brother Felix, 8, teary-eyed, but putting on a brave face.
Felix, it's okay.
Don't follow your brother.
Felix clings to Gabriel as they step into Josh's queue. Josh looks up from the last boy he searched, freezing as his eyes meet Gabriel's. He holds his gloved hands as if waiting for Gabriel's consent. Gabriel nods and holds his arms out to the side. Josh apprehensively starts the pat down under Gabriel's armpits and works cautiously toward his abdomen. Josh feels Gabriel's glare and pulls away for a second, then hurriedly continues from his groin to his ankles. Gabriel steps to the side and nudges Felix forward. Felix wipes his eyes with balled-up fists. Josh gives the little boy a rushed, cursory pat-down.
He's checking to see if we have anything dangerous in our pockets.
We don't have anything in our pockets.
Gabriel glares at Josh and ushers Felix away. Dan walks up and claps Josh on the shoulders.
Hey, after we're all done here, how about a cheeseburger on me?
Josh looks over his shoulder, nods, moves on to the next migrant stepping forward for a pat-down. Interior, diner, night. Josh and Dan sit across from one another in a booth. Dan nurses a cup of coffee. Josh stirs a Coke with a straw. The door jingles as two women walk hand in hand into the diner. Josh observes Dan craning his neck, gawking at them.
Wow.
There have always been so many of them.
Huh?
At the facility.
Oh, it didn't used to be this bad. We're making the best of a difficult situation. Look, it puts food on our table and clothes on your back, and it paid child support. Just give it a chance.
There were so many kids.
Blame their parents.
They look terrified.
They are.
Interior, Ice Center day. Shouts and commotion as guards force Gabriel Felix into a single-file line of dead-eyed detainees. Among them is Luis Zapatero, 21, a Salvadorian troublemaker.
Oye, Luis, what's this about?
Tu día de suerte. Shower time. Hey, guard. My friend here can go in front of me. Smells like shit.
Where'd you learn English?
Shit, there's more white people at home than Salvadorans. Fucking Bitcoin.
Behind them in line, a sickly boy, Miguel, 16.
Hey, man, cover your mouth.
Perdón. Es que no me quiere dar medicina. Soy Miguel.
Hi, Miguel. I'm Felix.
Felix extends his hand to Miguel. Gabriel gently swats it away to prevent the handshake.
¿De dónde eres?
Honduras. Era una gran inundación que me quitó la casa y mi mamá y mi hermana se...
Came from Guatemala. The cartel. Our mother's still out there. How long have you been here?
Semanas, creo yo.
You've been eating this food for 2 weeks? No wonder you're dying.
Shut up, dummy. Just 2 days for us.
Y tan pronto te voy a duchar.
Yeah, last time I had to wait 9 days.
The boys remove their clothes and enter the showers. Gabriel mashes a soap dispenser cautiously, then aggressively. Nothing comes out.
What the hell?
The noise attracts guard Jeff Gasparich, 30s, meathead, who saunters over and eyes Gabriel like a side of beef.
Cool it, amigo. That's a very delicate piece of machinery. Hey, Schroeder.
Josh diverts his gaze from Gabriel's as he enters the stall.
Why don't you grab this fine young specimen some more soap? He's filthy.
Josh nods and leaves.
Hey, Gabriel. Your boyfriend might be of some use.
What do you mean? I'm not looking for trouble. I have to look after Felix.
Well, you may not be looking after him much longer.
Huh?
Josh returns with a bottle of soap. Gasparich motions for him to enter the stall and refill it. The water's still running.
Go ahead.
Gabriel flattens himself against the half wall as Josh struggles to refill the soap without getting soaked. As Josh exits, the water shuts off.
Oh, would you look at that? Better luck next week, boys.
The boys reach for their towels and file out as water drips off Josh to the floor. Interior, Amber's living room that night. Josh is in a fugue state, taking in Amber's soulless studio. Lots of gray, cheap stainless steel appliances, glass tile.
So my editor called a meeting, and within an hour, we had a coverage team in place. I may get to do some real reporting. God, you wouldn't believe the number of people who call in with total nonsense. Like, okay, Boomer, I went to Columbia Journalism to blow the lid off the pothole situation on McMansion Lane. Anyway, how's life at Joshwitz?
Huh?
Oh, does that offend you? You're the one who works there.
No, not you. It's the water.
Explícame.
There's no hot water. There's no soap. They get 2 minutes once a week. It's like prison. I can't believe families put their kids through this.
That's your epiphany?
It's selfish.
You should go on the record about it.
What?
Come on, I'll break the story. We'll bring that whole place down.
What story? I'm nobody. I only got the job because of Dad.
That's exactly why it's a story.
I'm gonna go.
Think about it. It's a win-win.
For who?
Interior, Ice Center main floor, afternoon. A grimy industrial ceiling fan spins above the cage housing Gabriel, Felix, sleeping, Luis, Miguel, and other migrants. 2 guards roust a young boy, 11, awake, and lead him out of the cell, waking Gabriel.
Oye, Luis. Where's he going?
Donde sea.
What?
Foster care. Donde sea. Little kids don't stay here for more than a couple weeks.
No, they can't do that!
You believe that, you haven't been paying attention, man.
Gabriel's outburst wakes Felix, sleeping nearby.
Sorry, buddy.
Felix pulls his blanket back over his head. Gabriel goes from sorry to worried, rubs Felix's back, coaxing him to wake up.
Felix? You okay?
Gabriel runs his hand across Felix's forehead.
Shit. He's burning up.
Luis motions to Miguel, looking like death in the corner.
Yo también.
Through the cage, they see Josh leaning against the wall of Dan's office, ready to go home.
Hey, I got an idea. Oye, gringo! Ven aquí! My friend has something to ask you.
Josh approaches the cage as Luis pushes Gabriel to the edge of the cell. Josh and Gabriel come face to face, unable to speak nor turn away. Josh is about to speak when...
My brother is sick. He needs a doctor, some medicine, and Miguel too.
Can't help you. No te puedo ayudar.
He has a fever. He's burning up.
I'm sorry, my shift is over. Mi día ha terminado. Estoy acabado.
He's only 8, man.
Lo siento, mañana. I'm sorry.
Yo, I thought this was a first world country. You can't even get some cold medicine? Man, back home we get all the drugs we want. You want some? I can get you some.
Dan steps in to drag his son away from the cacophony.
Let the vets handle this stuff.
Yeah, the vets weren't handling it.
You step out of your station, it could be a big problem for a lot of people. Don't go answering every kid that cries for some Tylenol.
Interior, Josh's bathroom, night. Josh at the sink, a towel around his waist, a toothbrush in his hand. He puts toothpaste back in the medicine cabinet and eyes a row of medicine. Tylenol, Advil, Dad's antibiotics. He closes the medicine cabinet door in a huff. Interior, dining room, morning. Dan sips coffee at the dining room table while reading the Rio Grande Guardian newspaper. Headline, ICE raids in McAllen. 17 arrested. Families torn apart. Josh enters as Dan throws the paper on the table in disgust.
Fucking reporters. We're just doing our jobs.
What now?
Josh picks up the paper.
Holy shit, Amber.
Josh hands his dad the paper, pointing out the byline. By Marina Alvarez, John Eames, Amber Castillo.
She dropped my last name. Unbelievable.
Josh scans the article with increasing anxiety.
Raids took place on Gardenia Ave.
Shit. Rosa.
Is she undocumented? What happens to her kids?
Dan scrapes his plate into the trash, chucks it in the sink.
All right, let's go.
I'm just gonna use the bathroom first.
All right.
Dan heads for the door, Josh in the opposite direction. Interior, Dan's car, day. Blinding Texas summer sun. Josh stares aimlessly into the passenger side mirror as Dan looks straight ahead, listening to the radio.
The United Nations estimates more than 6,000 people are making their way through Central America to the Hidalgo port of entry.
Dan changes the station to some old-fashioned country.
So when I get in, I'll put in a request for that kid to see a doc, right? May not happen right away, but... Oh, and I heard from Port Isabel. Rose is there, and her kids are with her sister.
Gonna do anything about that one?
I have to wait for the legal process to play out.
It could take weeks.
Months.
How could you not have known?
Look, your mom was helping with her application on the side till she got sick. Firm didn't pick up her case, so she just let it ride.
You should have fixed this.
You can't force people to act right. She made choices. We all do.
Josh returns his angry gaze to the side mirror. Interior, Ice Center, main floor, day. Josh clutches his backpack nervously as he and Dan enter the facility. They're intercepted by an ICE administrator.
Sir, we've prepared a statement for you. I'll brief you in your office. We'll need a statement from your son, too.
They dodge a coroner, wheeling a black body bag on a gurney. Migrants yell and punch the fences along the funeral procession. Dan's office. Josh stares daggers at his father.
Josh, that kid...
His name was Miguel.
We'll make sure you aren't found culpable in any way.
What?
They checked on him twice last night. Protocol was followed.
Protocol?
Look, I can't grind this place to a halt for every kid who swallows river water and gets the runs.
He died, Dad. He fucking died.
A faint rattle from within Josh's backpack. Dan eyes his son, then the backpack.
Dad.
Dan snatches the backpack. Josh watches anxiously as Dan rifles through it, finding his prescription bottle inside.
What did you think you were going to do with this?
I don't know. Maybe.
You don't know. Maybe because you're not a fucking doctor. Maybe you had a virus. In which case, all you've done is smuggle contraband into a federal facility. Oh, Christ, what now?
Social workers are here.
Stay right there.
Josh does as he's told, until the door shuts. He eyes a stack of folders sitting on the corner of Dan's desk. Interior, Ice Center, main floor, moments later. Dan and Eddie join a larger group of social workers, all holding folders. One holds a few stuffed animals. Flanking them, a large phalanx of guards, including Gasparich. In the cage, Gabriel pulls Felix by the waist as he fights his way through the crowd toward Luis.
I'm taking the little ones.
I don't want to go.
Felix embraces his brother with an airtight grip.
I won't let them take you.
Luis leaves the brothers for the commotion near the opening of the cage. A toddler with a soaked diaper sits alone in the corner on a foil blanket, wailing. Other kids sit against the fence expressing the same pain, less audibly. Josh steps into the threshold of Dan's office to watch as Luis joins a group of older teens at the cage's opening. They form a human chain between the guards and the younger kids who might be in danger of being taken.
Stand down!
No, we're not moving.
Back the fuck up.
Gasparich reaches for the baton on his waist.
Fuck you.
The other kids find more courage, shouting obscenities at the guards. Luis and Gasparich stand face to face.
You're feeling brave, pendejo.
Gasparich puts some oomph and some spit into that last word. Luis shoves him in response, starting a melee. Guards whip the other teens with batons. Some go down instantly. Others fight back against repeated shots. Gabriel pulls Felix into a tight hug to shield his eyes as the chaos unfolds across the cage. Luis remains standing, bloodied and bruised. Gasparich continues his assault on Luis before an arm grabs him from behind. It's Dan.
That's enough!
Dan throws Gasparich off Luis, then pins Luis to the ground. Gasparich looks on, panting, dying to jump back in the fray. Gabriel dashes over, pleads with Dan, screams in his face.
You're gonna kill him!
Dan whips around, elbowing Gabriel violently to the ground. He cues more guards to enter. They part the crowd, subdue the remaining resistance, zip-tie Luis, lead Gasparich away. Social workers carry several of the smaller children, including the wailing toddler. Gabriel, still on the ground, bleeding from a busted lip, grips Felix's hand for dear life. A social worker approaches the brothers with a clipboard, then veers away and scoops up a lone 5-year-old boy.
Everybody move!
The guards bulldoze the remaining older kids out of the way for the social workers to schlep almost all of the young ones out like sacks of grain. Eddie enters, whispers to Dan, and points at several of the rebels. Dan directs the guards to escort the older boys away. Gabriel and Felix run to Luis, kneeling bloodied in the center of the cage, his eye swollen shut. Gabriel removes his shirt and wraps it around Luis's head.
Damn fool.
Eddie steps in impatiently and pulls Luis to his feet.
Mejor morir de pie que vivir arrodillado, ah?
The remaining prisoners cheer as Eddie leads Luis away past a glowering Gasparich, then past Josh. Dan surveys the scene. Gabriel glares at him, then at Josh. A three-way standoff. Gabriel spits blood on the floor. Interior, Ice Center, employee bathroom, day. Josh splashes his face with water and stares into the mirror, vibrating with impotent rage.
First riot, huh?
Eric walks to the next sink and washes his hands. Josh stares at the rivulets of red-tinted water circling the drain.
Ain't my blood. Okay? I was upstairs watching. just like you, till the end. I'm not here to crack any skulls.
Why are you here?
Look. White, brown, left, right, north, south. Everybody knows that it's fucked. Those idiots in Austin and DC, they want to argue the particulars, but if you ask me, none of my kind's really fixing to pick their own strawberries. My kind applies to law school. Federal job, a letter of rec from one of them idiots, that's a difference maker. Not that I got any interest in practicing anyway. But the real point of coming here for everybody is to leave.
Interior, Ice Center, main floor, evening. Silence. Many of the younger kids are asleep. Felix rests his head on Gabriel's lap. They're covered in a foil blanket. Felix opens his eyes.
Oye, Gabriel, that guy's watching us sleep. Can you get him to give him some more snacks?
Gabriel smiles, gently repositions Felix's head, and walks to Josh.
Quit staring. You're freaking out my little brother.
How are you?
How's Luis?
Banged up, but okay. Didn't give you a new shirt?
Ay, mierda.
Gabriel wraps the blanket around himself.
Wait.
Josh removes his work shirt, then takes off his undershirt, and passes it through the fence. His fingertips touch Gabriel's as they make the exchange.
The separations. They're gonna happen again, yeah?
Well, I'm here. I looked at your file in my boss's office. 3 days till the next separation. I don't have a plan yet, but
I thought your plan was to take over the family's business.
you go, don't. I was gonna go to college, discover myself, all that shit, and then system got in the way, and now I'm here.
Long live the system.
Interior, Dan's office, evening. On the computer monitor atop Dan's desk, Gasparich's name, and photo under the heading Disciplinary Action. Dan tidies the items on his desk, turning to an open folder to his right. Inside, a form with Rosa's name and photo. He reaches for the bobblehead, turns it around, taps its head, sighs as it nods hypnotically. Back to his file folders. Something's not right. On his computer, Dan opens security camera footage. He rewinds the feeds a few minutes. In one split-screen feed, Josh exits Dan's office. In another split screen, Josh hands his shirt to Gabriel. Josh enters.
I'm all done on the main floor.
Dan gets up, his face not betraying what he's seen. Interior, Dan's house, dining room, night. Dan and Josh, still in uniforms, eat boxed mac and cheese.
Most it's a spot.
Hope so. It's the only thing I know how to make.
Your mother taught us nothing.
Hey, can we talk?
What's on your mind?
I thought we'd have more time to get to know each other at the facility, but it's just so complicated.
I think it's pretty simple. I mean, there are rules, protocols, everything has its place. May not be the nicest place, but
Josh rubs his gold chain.
now that. You did pick that up from your mother.
She had to sell everything else.
She used to rub it too. She was keeping a secret. For future reference, Marroquin comes after Marquez. And you'll find these uniforms get scratchy without an undershirt. I'm suspending Gasparich, you know. He'll appeal, there'll be an investigation, bullshit. But these things take time. I got 7 fucking years at that place. You haven't even been there 7 weeks.
I'm done standing by while your officers beat the shit out of kids.
Oh, grow up! None of the things you think you're doing are going to help anybody. What's so special about that boy anyway? Hey, we're going to talk about this now!
Josh slams his bedroom door. Interior Dan's house. Hallway, dining room, dawn, present. Josh enters from his room wearing sneakers and a t-shirt printed with McAllen High track and field. He sneaks through the kitchen. No sign of Dan. Outside, Dan's Bronco isn't in the driveway. Josh exits the front door, pulls out his phone, taps his message thread with Amber, types a message, and jogs off. Exterior Carlson Lake, Hidalgo, Texas. Morning. Josh and Amber sit on the hood of her car overlooking a reed-filled reservoir fed by the Rio Grande.
Holy shit, you snuck in drugs? Did you trade them for a cell phone?
She scribbles the detail down in her notebook.
What else do you need to get off your chest, my little ice mole?
Oh, hold on. I'm not going on the record or whatever.
I need names, including yours. I'm glad you're developing a conscience, pero ¿qué dijo mamá? Si no hablas?
Piedra de la voz. You serious?
What else you want to tell me?
No. Not tell.
Interior, Ice Center hallway, moments later. Josh, in uniform, walks in like he owns the place. Eddie greets him.
Thought you were off today.
Where's the big man?
Said he was checking on a transfer from another facility.
Pack him in while he's still can.
Josh struts past the main cages, approaching Felix, who sits alone wrapped in his foil blanket, eyes welling with tears.
You okay, buddy?
It took Gabriel.
Who took him?
Gasparich whispers over Josh's shoulder.
The penalty for contraband clothing is a stay in isolation.
Gasparich struts off. Josh pulls a piece of chocolate from his pocket and passes it through the fence to Felix. Felix sniffles, takes the candy, and nods in thanks.
It'll be okay.
Josh stands and heads down the corridor. Interior, Ice Center Isolation Corridor, day. Josh kneels in front of a cell and opens a rectangular slot toward the bottom of it. Gabriel appears through the slot. He wears a raggedy uniform shirt.
That prick took your shirt.
That one looks good on you.
Doesn't look good on anybody. How's Felix?
I don't know. Does he like chocolate?
I can't lose him.
You won't. We have 3 days to get you out.
And my mom?
I talked to my dad, but we aren't exactly on speaking terms right now.
Are you usually on speaking terms with him? Look, I'm not saying I like the guy.
Wonder why not?
But you should give him a chance. My dad was a hard ass too. He died when I was 10, but I think he knew about me before I did.
Gabriel offers his hand to Josh through the slot. Josh hesitantly takes it.
You never know how long you're going to have with somebody. You have room in each other's hearts. You just have to find it.
Interior, Port Isabel Detention Center. Moments later. Dan enters a large room with a shiny concrete floor. Bunk beds line the walls. Round tables and a few tattered sofas crowd the middle of the room. Dozens of female detainees in navy blue jumpsuits socialize. One of them is Rosa. She's stricken. She knows she messed up.
Get a hearing date yet?
Nobody's told me anything. My sister's trying to get me a lawyer.
That's good. Look, I know the warden here. I'll make sure they don't move you. You can make an asylum claim. What was that son of a bitch's name?
Raphael.
Look, I know a guy who can get your green card, a real one. If all that doesn't work out, you set up in Reynosa and the kids visit, you try again. Oh, Rosa. You had a good run.
Yeah. I'm one of the lucky ones.
I'll tell your family you're okay.
Dan releases her hand, but Rosa grips him tight again.
Dan, say hi to your family.
Dan contemplates that before continuing out the door. Interior, Ice Center Isolation Corridor, day. Josh kneels in front of Gabriel's cell.
When are you gonna make your move?
As soon as I get a window.
It's all starting to make sense now.
Josh startles, pulls his hand from Gabriel's. They lock eyes. Eric strolls down the hall, coffee mug in hand.
Bro, you're good. Consenting adults.
Josh relaxes, then so does Gabriel. Eric pulls up and kneels in front of Gabriel's cell, talking to him through the slot.
I mean, you can't really consent. Your secret's safe with me. As long as you don't tell the old man about all my extra coffee breaks.
Eric tips his mug at Josh, claps him on the shoulders, and exits down the hall. Josh turns to Gabriel. Here's my window. Interior, Ice Center Surveillance Room, day. On monitors. Josh appears walking through a hallway. He jumps to a different monitor, then another one. Finally, Josh stops in front of a door, hesitates as he reaches for the handle, opens it, and steps inside the surveillance room. He walks to the video monitors, eyes them anxiously, landing on a view of the main floor cage where the riot happened. He turns to a computer and inserts a USB drive, rewinding the riot footage. On monitor, freeze frame of the start of the riot. Josh clicks around, triumphantly smashes play. On the computer screen, the user interface shows a video export. On monitor, grainy, black and white footage of the riot. Interior, Amber's living room, late morning. Josh flips through the channels on a wall-mounted flat-screen TV. No mention of the leaked footage on the local news. Josh gets up, paces the room, hovering over Amber, who sits on the couch, pecking away at her laptop.
You said the tape would blow the roof off that place. Nobody even noticed. Nobody gives a shit.
I got 43 retweets. Look. The progress doesn't move in a straight line. I'll DM my friend at the Chronicle. We can dig deeper. We can get more footage.
We're suddenly in this together now that it suits you. Why'd you come back here anyway?
To make a difference?
Yeah, our savior. You get to be whatever you want, whenever you want. Fucking off to New York, slumming it in McAllen, dropping everything that poses the slightest inconvenience. Señorita Castillo. I hope this place came with friendly lease terms for when you bounce again.
Amber cools her boiling blood, sets her laptop to her side.
I wanted to move my bed.
What?
I'd wake up in the middle of the night, my headboard rattling from his fists going through the wall. I wanted to move my bed to the other side of the room to get some sleep, but I thought, no, I need to stay awake in case he ever takes it out on her. Then me and Mom realized we all needed to get our own beds.
I don't remember it like that.
Because Mom and I protected you. But I guess we failed because here you are trying to be everything you're not, craving the approval of a man who would hate the real you if you ever met him.
You don't know the real me either.
He furiously heaves Amber's laptop into the wall. Drywall dust and pieces of the keyboard scatter everywhere. She stands proudly, masking her fear with condescension.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
No, it doesn't.
Josh stalks out, leaving Amber to survey the damage. Exterior sidewalk, day. Josh trudges along, head bowed, hands in pockets. As he approaches Dan's house, he doesn't notice the red and blue flashing lights emanating from the approaching car. The car blasts its siren. Josh turns around.
You kidding me, Amber?
The car's window rolls down. Eddie, in an ice vehicle.
The hell? It's cool, right? I get to blow through the stop signs with this thing. Thought I'd act like a cop, seeing as you committed a felony.
Interior, Dan's office, afternoon. Thwack. Dan drops the stack of papers Josh signed on his first day on the job.
Page 37. Go ahead. A lot of numbers in there, so I'll skip to the exciting one. 28. That's how old you'll be when you get out of federal prison for violating your NDA. But hey, I'll lose my job. That'll fix it. Next guy coming in, he'll let all these people go. Give everybody a free pass. Say something!
Dan seethes, shudders, exhales through his teeth, looks out the window and notices he's made a scene. He gets up and walks calmly around the room, closing the blinds.
You know, I pulled your little friend out of ISO, but you seem addicted to sabotaging the one person who's trying to help you.
Yeah, like you helped Miguel?
What happened to that boy was unfortunate. But if I get involved with all of them, I can't manage any of them. This place, this system, you think I'd want to watch kids beg for food or blankets or the parents they may never see again? Huh?
Yeah. I think you do. I think you're that desperate to control something in a world that has no use for you.
I do it to provide for you! But you wouldn't know from responsibility. You never had to take care of anybody.
Do you know what happens during chemo and radiation? Your taste buds die. Your body stops making new cells, so they die. Mom couldn't even taste her own cooking. Eventually, she couldn't swallow anyway. At the end, it was chicken broth and hot sauce. Me and Amber watched her die while you were here providing.
Josh, she didn't want me there.
We needed you there.
Dan rubs his temples, looks around to anywhere but his son. At the Adrian Beltre bobblehead, now gently swaying from the thud of Josh's fists. At his computer monitor.
God damn it. Don't move.
Dan fixes Josh to his seat with a look and storms out. Leaves his walkie near the edge of the desk. Josh blows off steam by sliding his chair over to the window, peeks under the blinds at Gabrielle and Felix. He aimlessly slides back, then back to the window. Back and forth, anxious, angry. Josh pushes off the window with too much speed and bumps into Dan's desk, sending Dan's walkie falling to the ground. Scrambles around to the other side of the desk, and as he reaches for the walkie, in the corner of his eye, sees that the security camera feeds on Dan's monitor are glitching out.
Shit.
Interior, Ice Center surveillance room, continuous. Eric glides back from his desk to avoid the coffee spilling all over him. The console wasn't so lucky. It's soaked.
Shit. Shit.
He dashes out of the room, right into Dan walking in. Interior, Ice Center main floor moments later. Josh walks up to the cage, wild eyes darting around the room. Only a handful of guards. Gabrielle stands up to meet him.
What happened with your old man?
Hit me in the stomach.
You're crazy. I'm not gonna.
Wham! Luis reaches through the bars, grabs Josh by the lapels, and slams his face into the bars.
You like that, pendejo? Boyfriend's a smart guy, Gabriel.
The other boys in the cage ready themselves for round two. The commotion draws Eddie and Gasparich to the scene. Eddie tends to Josh. Gasparich opens the cage, ready to crack heads. Inside the cage, Luis and the group of older boys are ready to rumble. Gasparich bull rushes them, flailing his baton wildly. Gabriel and Felix scurry to the edge of the cage. Just outside the cage, Eddie helps Josh, who brushes him off.
I can handle myself.
Josh runs in the cage and tackles Gabriel as Eddie looks on in horror.
Oh, shit. Boss, we got a situation.
Josh wrestles with Gabriel, rolling over so Gabriel's on top as the other older boys pummel Gasparich.
Get off. Get off.
Interior surveillance room, moments later. Dan and Eric look at the video board, full of glitching black monitors. Eddie calls out over Eric's walkie.
All personnel to the main floor.
Dan and Eric look at each other. Oh shit. Interior, Dan's office hallway, moments later. Josh flips the deadbolt to the door to prop it open. He calmly walks toward the main floor, untucks his mom's chain from his undershirt. Interior, Ice Center main floor. Josh shoves Gabriel off, cracks a bloody smile at Gasparich being overwhelmed. Josh looks over his shoulder, squares himself up between Gabriel and Eddie, now in the cage, and attempting to pull the other boys off Gasparich without hurting them.
You're an asshole.
Gabriel catches on and runs at Josh, slamming him into Eddie, then the cage. Josh and Gabriel put on a WWE-style show, throwing each other against the cage over and over until crash! The cage wall collapses. Gabriel lands on top of Josh. Thud. The back of Josh's head hits the concrete floor. Migrants pour out of the holding cell and swarm the guards. Dazed and bloody, Josh smiles grimly, motions to Felix, then over to Dan's office. Gabriel grabs Felix and helps Josh up. The three scramble to Interior, Dan's office hallway, moments later. Josh, Gabriel, and Felix enter. Josh slams the door shut and locks it.
Watch out for the guards.
Felix peers through the blinds. Josh and Gabriel push Dan's desk to the wall below the window, sweep the desk with their arms to clear it. Josh leaps atop the desk, tries and fails to force open the stuck window, looks around the room in a panic.
Give me something to break it.
As Josh and Gabriel scan the room, Felix parts the window blinds and eagerly watches Gasparich get pummeled, yelling into the radio on his shoulder.
I need backup! Titan has fallen!
Gabriel whips his head over to the source of the cry, the walkie on the floor.
I repeat, Titan has fallen!
Gabriel snatches it off the floor and tosses it to Josh. Boom! Josh slams the walkie into the glass. The walkie breaks apart. The glass does not. Gabriel and Josh scan the room for a second option. Then it appears to them in Felix's outstretched hands. The bobblehead. Josh snatches it from Felix and smashes the doll's heavy resin base into the window, over and over, until it cracks. He drops the doll on Dan's desk below. He takes off his button-up shirt, wraps it around his hand, clears the broken glass away, shakes off the glass and throws the shirt to Gabriel, who puts it on.
Come on, now.
Josh jumps down and frantically empties his pockets of cash, pressing it into Gabriel's hands, then motions to Felix.
Come on, little man.
Felix runs to Josh. Bear hugs him around the waist.
Is he coming with us?
Gabriel turns to Josh for an answer. Josh rips the gold chain from his neck and puts it inside the left chest pocket of Gabriel's shirt, pressing his hand to Gabriel's heart.
Go find your mom.
Gabriel reluctantly hoists himself atop the desk. Josh lifts Felix up to Gabriel, who carefully guides him through the window, holding on to both his hands, dangling him outside.
No, no, no! Wait!
Time's running out. There's his window. One last shot.
Corazon.
Gabriel lets go of Felix, who lands on the ground below in a heap, but unharmed. Gabriel turns back to Josh for one last look before he climbs through and drops out of sight. Josh turns to the door, stares at it, drags himself to the threshold, rests his forehead again a moment, and deep breath. He throws the door open, stumbling through the threshold, shuffling a few steps forward to the main floor. Josh watches Eric dash to the melee and join Eddie in pulling the migrants off Gasparich. A handful of guards rush the main floor, firing tear gas and zip-tying the migrants' hands together. Josh is on the verge of fainting, vision blurring. In the distance, he makes out a figure sprinting toward him. Dan. As Josh collapses, Dan wraps him in a bear hug. Dan cradles a spent, bleeding, concussed Josh in his arms. Through Dan's open office door, chaos. Smashed walkie, smashed bobblehead, smashed window from walkie.
All clear. Detainees are contained. Multiple injuries on the scene. We're gonna need an ambulance.
The broken window, open to the Texas night sky. Interior, hospital day. Morning's first light hits Josh, asleep in a hospital bed, head wrapped in gauze. His eyes flutter open. Coming to, squinting at the light, he narrows his focus to something nearby.
You're here early.
You look worse in my living room.
Josh tries and fails to suppress a laugh, wincing from the pain. Amber joins, running her thumb over his wounds.
It's all right.
Hope you saved your prison paychecks. I need a new laptop anyway. I can't believe you did that. Any of it. Who are you, bro?
She smiles archly, but proudly. He does too, his self-amazement overcoming his self-deprecation. Click. The door to the room opens.
Josh, you up?
That's my cue. I'm slumming it here for a while. See you around.
Amber makes for the exit as Dan enters holding a big greasy paper bag. He averts his eyes and tries to slink past, but she brushes his shoulder with her hand, halting his progress. They exchange a polite but solemn look before Amber leaves. Dan approaches Josh's bed.
Should you be at work?
No, I'm off today. So are you. That head wound and the concussion means 24-hour stay.
How are the others?
Eddie's a little shaken up.
You know what I mean. Dad, Gabriel and Felix.
I'm unaware of any current detainees by those names.
Dan catches Josh smiling subtly.
So what happens now?
The administration wants to bury all this, and that means no inquiry into any of the anarchists who may have contributed to the events of the last week. But I do have some bad news. Your position with the Bureau of Immigration and Customs Enforcement has been eliminated.
What about your position?
It's being backfilled. I'll be all right. Wish I could say the same for Adrian here.
Dan reaches into the paper bag, producing the smashed bobblehead. Its paint scuffed, head dangling off a stretched out spring, sets it down on a table next to Josh.
Technically, it wasn't even yours to begin with. Dad, I need to tell you something.
Josh tenses. Deep breath. Dan stops him, hand to Josh's shoulder.
Son, I know what kind of man you are.
Josh exhales in relief, eyes welling, places his hand atop Dan's. Their eyes meet. They both manage to just barely keep it together. Dan sees Josh's necklace is missing.
Josh, your mother
did everything right, I know.
No, not everything. But most things. One thing, she couldn't have done any better. You hungry?
Dan walks back to the table, takes out 2 styrofoam containers from the bag, and hands one to Josh. He sits and flips on the TV. Local news.
The latest incident is sure to amplify calls for reform. Despite bipartisan congressional enthusiasm, many children remain separated from their families. It's just an unfortunate story, Michelle.
Indeed, Jim. Well, folks, summer is heating up. Coming up after the break, we've got tips for surviving those triple-digit temps without breaking a sweat.
Exterior, dirt road, night. Gravel crunches under the weight of an oncoming car. Headlights appear behind Gabriel and Felix, who turn and squint at the light. Josh's chain glimmers from around Gabriel's neck. The boys look hopeful, then scared. They shield their eyes from the car's blinding headlights as the dust kicked up from the car swirls into view. Cut to black.
Wow. Congratulations, guys. Oh my gosh. I'm speechless. I mean, that kind of just broke me. It's so beautiful and I'm like crying over here. So, thanks everybody again for being part of this. Please give us your love on this chat so that these actors and writers and director can know how beautiful that was. Thank you all. Oh my gosh. I'm just going to go straight into this Q&A. Steve and John, how are you feeling after watching? Sorry. Yeah, I'm completely, you guys, like, woo! I'll try to get a grip.
No, I appreciate, first of all, I appreciate everyone who stuck around to watch the full piece. I'm feeling just seeing the words on the page come to life, and seeing the actors put so much hard work. As I said, it was 4 days. It was Sunday through Thursday or Sunday through Wednesday. 4 days of work. And obviously we handed to Scott and he worked his magic too. Yeah, I'm just blown away. I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, I found myself like mouthing along with some of the, the dialogue because like I've read the script more than anyone, and it's easy to be like jaded about it, but then after a bit, I let myself, be absorbed into it, and there was some moments that still got to me, even though you'd think they shouldn't have, and that's just a testament to the power of the performances and the direction. Particularly, I mean, everybody did amazing, but I just want to call out those couple of sequences where, Amber is kind of lecturing Josh and then Josh turns it around and lectures his dad. And it's like, I'm sure we all have our own family drama. Maybe it's not on this level, but that really, moved me. So special shout out to those three actors. But yeah, it's pretty incredible to watch.
Agreed. There are some extremely poignant lines. I mean, I know what kind of a man I can't even say it out loud without crying. It gets me every time. It's so beautiful, like being a parent, and that it's gorgeous. Let's talk a little bit about the beginning of the process. How did you guys feel? What were the thoughts going through your head when you got the phone call telling you that you won this grand prize of this competition?
Well, you pulled a fast one on us because you sent an email saying we have to discuss some, last minute things. We're talking to the finalists, and then you just, surprised us. And I hope you screen capped it because I mean I know John and I were just really shocked. It's so hard to win something. There's thousands of entries and a lot of amazing scripts out there. So I mean, I just felt like a little bit of relief that it landed with somebody and with a group of people, because it's also subjective being a writer.
Sure.
And you know, some people have hated the script. So it was that little bit of you know, validation, that we, you know, did something worthwhile.
No, I was as Steve said, we got the email, and then I told Steve we should talk, we should call, we should prepare whatever questions they're going to ask us. We should have 3 different answers. So we literally spent, I think, 30 minutes on the phone, sort of like going into every sort of avenue that we thought would be required. And then obviously we got the news, and I almost cried on Zoom, but I was like, John, listen to Molly, listen to Felicity, just take it in. And as Steve said, I was telling my friends and family, someone got it. I don't want to curse, but someone got it finally and understood it, because as Steve said, writing is subjective, reading is subjective. And we've had so many no's and so many, we haven't placed in countless competitions. And for this to be one of one, and the way Felicity I'll never forget, in that original Zoom conversation, laid out the full script, all 100 pages, in maybe 5 minutes, and just went into every little nuance of the characters and what we covered. And I said, yeah, someone got it finally. And that was the relief and the validation that this was the right script, and hopefully at the right time.
Really fantastic job, everyone. I too feel quite watery-eyed and very moved by it. It was so beautiful, and all those action sequences, again, very dramatic, and I was really in the moment, so it was wonderful. But I also felt the tenderness and the sweetness and the love. So great job, Bria, and fantastic job, Scott, and actors. My goodness, 10 stars, 1 million stars. Yeah, no, when we're looking for a table read, there's definitely certain criteria that we're looking for. You need characters that you can really fall in love with, and that you really need to focus on the dialogue, and it needs to be sensational dialogue. And I really felt this was very natural and very relatable, very real. And then also with our table reads in particular, we're always looking for something, a story that can touch people's humanity. We've had comedies, we've had horrors, we've dramas, but I think that's something that we really look for in the work that we choose. And I think this script has all of that and more. I mean, like, it is absolutely jam-packed with all those wonderful things. The nuanced family relationships and the exploring of betrayal and misunderstanding and violence, you know, losing someone to cancer, the family, burgeoning new love. I mean, how amazing is it to watch people fall in love? I just, you know, warms the cockles of your heart, and it was so beautifully done. And then also brotherly love, you know, there's a kind of sense of family and even strangers in the detention center becoming like family, found family. And then you have the complexities of people who are working at the border who don't want to be there but have to be there for certain reasons, and then those being incarcerated. So it really has so many levels to really draw from, whilst always remaining very concentrated and intimate. You know, there's an intimacy and a delicacy and a nuance which I really, really loved. 1 million stars. I like giving out stars. That, can I just say that I really do.
It is fun. It's a good part of the job. Ria, how about you? You put your trust in us to choose the script that you would direct. When we handed it to you and said, "Here it is, go," like, what were you commented a little bit beforehand, but what did you think about this script, and how did you move forward with it?
I spoke a bit about this at the top, but what did I think about? Yeah, I was working on another show at the time and said, I trust you, and I do, and I did, but I'm also just very grateful that I wasn't part of the decision, because not that I wouldn't have chosen it, you guys, but like, I might have been like, oh, my wheelhouse, or, you know, my comfort zone, and and that, you know, this is very much outside of that, but that's beautiful, right? Like, so to be able to grow and stretch. And like I was saying at the beginning of this event, you know, it scared me, and it felt very unfamiliar, but I think that that's what ultimately served me and all of us, is that I didn't know. I mean, I just, remained blissfully unaware, and for me to now be aware and to be able to shine a light for others is everything. One of my favorite quotes is Ram Dass's possessive. We're all just walking each other home, right? We're all just together, and even from different walks of life, and I couldn't be more separated in theory from these young men. We're all the same. So I'm just, so grateful to be able, I'm sorry, I'm just so grateful to be able to have told this story with you. And like you were saying, John, earlier, to creatively collaborate. Like, I'm never about, oh no, this is my vision and I'm doing it now. No, let's all do this together. Let's, I have a vision, I'm listening to you, and I will infuse. There's certain things I might dig my heels on, but in general, let's collaborate. And I just think I know that that's what this was. It was a beautiful collaboration. And that's all of you actors, especially, just to what I said at the beginning, to trust and to unabashedly commit, and to be like, I'm in a jail cell and a thing and then a thing. You guys did it. Like, did you see that we bought it because you committed, all of you? You're at the diner, you're at the jail, like, we're with you. I went off.
Yeah, let's talk to the cast a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you a little bit
I'm
there.
done.
Yeah. Guys, girls, how did that feel? I mean, did you feel like this is not working? I mean, especially the guys throwing each other against, well, you're not throwing each other, you're throwing yourself, and you're hoping the other person is doing what looks like throwing you, right? I mean, it's a lot of choreography that Rhea skillfully put together, but how was that actually going through those motions and making them real? I mean, you made it real for us all.
That was Rhea's note of like, if you don't hard commit to this, it is going to look silly. So your only option is to just completely go all out. And watching the final product, I was like, oh no, that is exactly correct.
It worked.
Lean to your right and commit.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually amazed at how everything came out as well, because as you said, I mean, you're in this world, you're kind of just swinging at no one and imagining that you're trying to pull people off, having people on top of you. How do you make that come to life when you don't actually see it? But I think trusting in the fact that, the direction, Rhea was like, no, look this way, go that way, because we're going to have you come this way. I'm thinking, how does she even keep track of all this? Because I'm thinking, okay, fine, I'm just going to do what she says and just trust. And I'm glad we did, because it came out wonderful. And this is my second event doing it on Zoom, and I just this one has far more physicality involved than the last script that we did, and I was just expertly done, really done, very, very well. Bravo to the direction and to the editing. So that's everything. That's the whole thing.
For sure.
The writing for those sequences was also tremendously helpful because it's so illustrative. It's sort of easy to kind of like breeze through screen direction and be like, oh, let's go to the dialogue here. But the fact that it was like so vivid and imparted those images so well and so readily to us, the cast, made it so much easier just to like place ourselves in those actual scenarios. And we could just listen to Elias reading out loud what we were doing and know exactly not just what we were supposed to be doing, but how it was supposed to make us feel and what we're communicating in those moments.
Yeah, I second that. It was very clear. It was very just the description wasn't too much that it kind of hit you over the head. You were able to still see the world. You got enough to be there. And Elias, man, you are like as the narrator, it's a underappreciated role, but you held it as the glue through everything, and masterfully were able to keep our story moving along. And so I think coupled with that, it was fantastic. It was really fantastic to watch.
Oh, you're too nice. Thank you. It was an honor to be that glue, to kind of piece it all together, and to, whenever the actors aren't looking at the script or at the words and they want to live in the world a little bit, I as narrator, I kind of help them out a little bit, kind of feed them the feeling or feed them the line so they can live in that world. And so being the narrator, it was nice to be a friend to all the roles.
Yes, for sure. Let's talk a little bit more cast. How Ben specifically, but anybody else can jump in. You had so many struggles and relationships that were, deep relationships, your sister, your father, a new love, yourself, right? The struggle within yourself. And you're on a Zoom screen. And at no moment did I think you're on a Zoom screen. I mean, I saw through your eyes, man, when Rosa comes into the diner, you light up. Your eyes completely light up. You blush. Like, how? Tell us.
Especially when you have like a medium or like a limitation like Zoom, you just have to like rely on the cast around you and just like listen. And I was just I think we were all just so lucky to be surrounded by this cast that like fills the space with their presence, not just the area that they're in, but even like across computers through the Zoom screen. It was just whenever anyone was in a scene with me, it wasn't difficult. I could feel them. I could feel their presence and the energy that they were bringing to the scene, even over Zoom.
We could feel it too. Does anybody else want to talk about that? Finding the connection or working just in this medium?
I want to say something as a non-cast member that I appreciate from being able to watch Ria work with the cast, because I'm somebody that my background is working on sets, and it's so often easy to just feel like you're following the directions of the script. It's okay, we got to get this next piece. We got to get this next piece. And I love, Ria, that you often stopped before starting a new scene saying, okay, why are we here? Like actually getting the cast members to, oh yeah, connect with what are we even doing here in the first place, not just reciting the lines. So I was kind of curious, where did you learn that? Did you pick that up from a different director, or is that from an acting background of your own, or where did that come from?
Well, I did come up as an actor, so I think that's probably what it speaks to, is orienting oneself and reminding yourself as a human, as an actor, what your intention is. We don't want to get sloppy about that, because if we're sloppy about it, then so will the audience, so will the who we're trying to tell the story to. They're not going to know either. If we don't know, they don't know. So if we're very clear on our intentions and action verbs, I'm very big on action verbs, then the story will be told more efficiently, and the viewers plural will understand that. So yes, I like to pause and calibrate, recalibrate, orient, and remind ourselves. And even when you do know, it's just good to say it out loud, so that it makes it, like I said, active, and there's energy behind it. So to answer your question, I think it's more that I'm an actor's director sometimes.
You are, definitely you are. Let's back up to the beginning and talk briefly about John, Steve. John, first, how did this come to you? Why did you want to write this script? And then, second part, to Steve, why did you want to come on board and be part of this co-writing script?
Yeah, so I actually don't know what inspired me that day. I was driving to now my late grandmother's house back in 2019, y'all. This has been a work in progress, several drafts. it was, and I'm not comparing tragedies, but it was the boy in the striped pajamas, that visual at the fence at the US-Mexico border. And that's all I had in my head. And so before I went into her house, I wrote it down in my notes app, and that was it. I said, I'm going to write this. And then the idea grew and developed, and I developed the script. And I also work on set full time. So excuse the yawning, I was on set earlier. And I'm on the East Coast. But no, it was, I at some point just ran out of time. The original draft was getting some traction, but I didn't have time to really get fresh eyes on it. And then a mutual through Twitter knew Steve, who was doing free reads. And that's when sort of we connected. He gave glowing reviews to Steve's thorough notes, and then I sent the script to Steve. But to the premise and the idea of the script really quick, this is about humanizing the immigrant. This is about humanizing individuals who are, as Steve said, just trying to survive. And we shouldn't live in a world where we unfortunately do, where these arbitrary borders that were created hundreds of years ago or whenever they were created determine your space in this world and determine how you're treated in this world. And so when we looked at the detention facility and those people working in it, some don't want to be there. And they're only there to support their own family, support their own. But again, they're doing it to their own people too, in a sense. McAllen's a very heavily Latinx community, and a lot of them work at the facility. And so, those people born 10 miles north have a much different life experience than 10 miles south. So that was the core of it all. And then, I had the skeleton, I had the first draft. And then when I, sent it to Steve, he DM'd me and he said, we have to talk about this. And Steve was able to enrich the characters and enrich the relationships with them without blowing up the plot. And that's what I really appreciated about him, because he brought a different experience. I was a queer kid, small town experience. I was not Josh, but a Josh. And Steve, being a father, brought that element into it, and it really kind of worked together. So I guess Steve can take it away.
Yeah, I read a lot of scripts, especially if I'm if I've hit a bump or a roadblock with something I'm working on. I like to read other people's material so I can steal it. But no, this was one of those times, and I'll just put out something on Twitter like, hey, I can read, anybody got something? And yeah, we got connected that way. And if a script is bad, right, you say like, thanks so much for sharing your work with me, here's 3 tips or whatever. But if it's great, then you write like 15 pages or whatever I wrote to John. And I was just like, okay, well, what about this and this and this? And have you considered this and this and this? And, that's just went so above and beyond, because there was so much that that connected with me, especially as John said, the father-son dynamic of it all. There's a kind of almost a throwaway line that Elias got to recite even in this short version about a toddler kind of wailing on the floor of one of these centers. And at that point in my life, I think my son was 2 years old or something like that. And I just broke down crying at this script that I'd gotten from Twitter. So, when there's such good meat there, I begged John to let me ride his coattails on this, if I'm being honest. And we have, written a dozen drafts since then. There'll probably be a lot more, maybe some studio notes to address. But yeah, that was the crazy process, right? Like from Twitter to Sundance, just like John said. And, I just kind of, I think it's called X now. I'm going to call it Twitter forever. But not even Elon Musk can ruin that app for us, because it led to an experience like this.
Yeah, and so Sundance, let's talk for a minute about that. It was the first in-person meeting for you guys, and you got to share it with Felicity and Caitlin from ISA. How was that whole thing for you guys?
I walked right past him the first time. Like legitimately did not think he would be that tall. Like for real. We were in the airport. I landed first, and then Caitlin, and then Felicity. And I was throwing something away or whatever. And I walked past and I hear, "Hey man." I was like, and it was Steve. I looked up and I'm 6 foot myself. So I walked right past him. It was kind of surreal because we had only been obviously Zoom, FaceTime, and throwing drafts back and forth. But yeah, the Sundance experience, as I said before, life-changing just because, you know, the people that you meet and the films, each film that we saw was sort of you pull. I'm an aspiring director myself. We'll talk Rhea maybe. Um, but pulling things, from a writing perspective, from a directing perspective, from, seeing what these directors got out of their actors in these films just really inspired me. Being around a bunch of creatives in that space and just being in a place that I never thought I would ever be, to be honest. I never dreamt about, going out to Sundance. I wanted to. But to be flown out was a unbelievable experience. And I appreciate the warmth that Felicity and Caitlin showed both Steve and I the whole time we were there. We had a bunch of laughs, a bunch of wine, and had a beautiful time. Had a tremendous time. So I'm grateful to the ISA for that.
I'll just say this about Sundance. I think I said to myself, well, if I ever do go, it'll be because I have a film screening there. Yeah, and of course that may we all experience that dream, right? But the cool thing about going without it is that you realize, it's not an ivory tower kind of golden gated thing. Anybody can go, and anybody who loves movies and now television, because they have pilots and things that screen there now, can go, and it is inspiring. I think like Robert Redford's vision was to bring people away from the grime of Hollywood into this beautiful, mountainous terrain, and hope that nature would inspire. And like it really does. It's pretty stunning to look around there and realize that there's a world apart from wherever it is that you flew in from, and be inspired to create something. And that's even before you get to the conversations and the films and the parties and whatnot.
Yeah.
Do we have time for like a 2-minute thing about to like the actors?
Yeah.
Or we can just, okay, I just want to say to Steve's point earlier, and I forgot to piggyback off him. Also, mind you, Steve, this is the film we're bringing to Sundance, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2026.
Yeah. But to the actors, and to sort of the question about, and how, or the note about Ben, his eye, facials. Everybody had amazing facials, but that to me, and I wish Eric could be here as well, who played Gabrielle. Your connection, Ben, to Eric was you were the first two characters in my head originally, Josh and Gabrielle, like back to the original script. Tremendous work. And then obviously Steve, Amber was originally, fun fact, Josh's love interest, not his sister. Steve, I can thank for that. So that dynamic worked beautiful. Thank you, Gloria. And so I just wanted to thank the actors.
And can I interject about how much they seem like siblings?
Yes.
That barbing and that nuanced. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly, Gloria. I love that. I bought it.
Yep, you didn't miss a beat just to
Nope.
Stick it to the other one. It was perfect.
All paying off in the hospital room at the end.
I have to say at Sundance as well, it was really nice because we did actually split up the prize. Normally we would do the Rhea knows, she did it before with us, you do the table read at Sundance, but this time we wanted to split the two so that actually this will now be a calling card for the writers, and it will be a way for you to show the tone and the story in a kind of very condensed way, and also it'll be it's a beautiful calling card, and it really shows off the quality of your writing. But it did mean that we had for 4 nights and 5 days of Sundance where we just literally partied, watched movies, and had conversations with people. And I have to say that both John and Steve were incredible ambassadors for their work. I was always turning around and they'd be chatting to someone else over there, and they'd be like, I've got someone else's card. You know what I mean? That is really what it is about. And we went to one event, and the host of the event said, and I think you were kind of alluding to it, Steve, he said, don't wait till you have a film at Sundance. Don't wait. Come, see if it's your festival, see if you're kind of inspired by it, see if you can meet people that you might work with if you do have a film like this one, kind of like moving forward. And I feel like it's the same with the entering contests, putting your work forward, doing the sizzle reel. You know, don't wait. Don't wait for it to be perfect. Don't wait till someone gives you permission. You have to get out there. You deserve it. You are talented, and magic happens when you actually throw your hat in the ring. But you know, it can't happen to you if you're not involved, if you're not actually taking part. So I feel the fact that Steve entered on his ISA Connect free entry, and then they got flown to Sundance, it just shows you, you know, if you're working, if you're paying attention, this business is hard. But people notice. We notice at the ISA, we're always looking. We're always looking. And I think we're going to spend the next year working with John and Steve. I'm reading some other scripts of theirs, see how we can help with that, as well as, I'm getting to it, Steve. I do apologize. It's been a minute. But Colette is on my mind, let me tell you. We will spend this next year making connections with them, putting them in front of our industry professionals and our contacts, seeing if there's directors we can, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe you're going to direct it yourself, John. We'll just have to see what happens. Oh, and Ria, sorry, there's going to be a compliment.
No, not me, not me, not me. No, no, no. I'll be at Producer Village. I'll just be like, doo-doo-doo. Yeah, not
The
me.
right of first refusal, that's in my contract. I
Not
love
yet.
it. Yes, it
Not
is.
yet. Not ready yet. Nope.
Yeah,
Ready.
but it's kind of, I think that's the thing about it. I mean, I did bring my coat so that we could all relive the Sundance moment. What it's like to walk up and down the hill. It's very hot in my apartment in LA, but they would looked really cool. I didn't look so cool, but anyway, it's such a fun thing. I think the first night we got there, we were all exhausted because we all left our homes at 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. and stuff, and we danced till 1 a.m. at a very big party. Just kind of like, this is the life, you know. Let's make your life interesting.
No.
Do it.
Well, that's a fun note to end on. Does anybody have anything else that they want to say before we say thank you and good night? This was a fantastic evening. So much fun. Tears and laughter, all of it.
I just want to praise the script and the writers some more, because that's what tonight's about. But, you know, it's such a complicated and big project, a big topic in general. But then, as you know, Felicity was talking about already, just the depth of getting to know this family as well, on top of getting to know this big, controversial, difficult issue, is such a tremendous undertaking. And it's amazing. And also, I love that, you know, because it's a difficult concept, like there's no bad guy, there's no evil characters. You know, maybe the one
That's
guard
right.
there, Peter, but beyond him, you know, you're the dad. It's complicated. It's complicated, and I anytime the character Eric, that character needs to be brought up, and Matthew's performance, because anytime that sketchy AF character walks on screen, it's like, what is going to happen? But I can't turn away because I love that character, and such a I don't know if he's hero enough to be an anti-hero, but you got to keep an eye on that dude. So very good job, tremendous job with the secondary characters as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and yeah, the facials that Matt delivered the first time he sees Josh, and just kind of hanging back and kind of studying him, and then all throughout the script, the delivery, especially in the bathroom scene, that message too, you know, north, south, you know, doesn't matter where you're from, we all know it's fucked. And sorry, I cursed. We all know it's, yeah. And that message there and that delivery was perfect. Yeah.
I will say as a testament to John and Steve, to both of your guys' writing, when I was reading through that monologue in the audition, I remember being like, this is gonna be fun. This is, he is, like you said, he's anti-hero is probably the best term that I can think of right now. And it's not a person that I get the chance to read for. And your guys is like, right, it was easy, to perform it because of the words. It was great.
Checks in the mail.
Listen, I'm so honored to have been a part of the cast, to have been able to perform your words. Steve, John, thank you so much. Molly, Rhea, it was a pleasure. I mean, I hope that we can all get a chance to work with each other in some way or another in the future. So
absolutely.
you got my email, you know where to find me. I hope I can reach out and find you guys too, and we can all make magic together. It's been a fantastic time. So thank you so much for the experience, everyone.
Let's make this magic right here.
Yeah,
it's important.
absolutely.
Very important.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick, again, thank you for the opportunity and working with just such a wonderful team. Steve, John, Rhea, your direction was such a great time to play with everyone, and Molly for putting us all together. And these stories are really important, and it's really, really important for people to know what's happening and the gravity of, these are people. They're human beings that are going through this. So thank you for writing it and letting people hear it.
That's a wrap, as they say. Enjoy your evening. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations again, John and Steve. Beautiful, beautiful script. And we look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Have a good night, everybody.